Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right, this is our Instagram segment, Are You Following Me? Where this week we are following our friend Jennifer Neubauer from the Hook and Garden Instagram. Jennifer is an avid vegetable gardener from West Hampton Beach, New York. And it's really great to have Jennifer along with us here today. Hey,
Hi, Nick.
Jennifer, how are we doing? It's good to have you with us. Thanks for joining our show.
Oh, thanks for having me. Look at that planty paradise you're sitting in.
Yep. Actually, one of my first passions in growing was growing house plants that I got to do throughout most of my childhood. It wasn't until later on in my adulthood that I got started with vegetable gardening, which really kind of changed my whole perspective on growing and all of that as well too. So again, it's really great to have you here. And first thing I wanted to ask you about is your Instagram page. It's called Hook
Mhm.
and Garden. Can you
Yeah,
tell us the story behind the name Hook and Garden?
yeah, definitely. So we live in coastal Long Island, New York. And when I was thinking about creating this page, it was a means to document a lifestyle that my family lives, which is sea and garden to table. Oop, give me one sec, sorry.
Sorry.
I don't know what happened. Oh, I'm connected to my. So it's sea and garden to table. And what's nice about that is that my husband is big into fishing, and I also do a little bit of oyster farming, and we're just really attached to the local waters and the ocean in a lot of different ways. And then I'm rooted in my garden in a homesteading, kind of a new age homesteading capacity. So growing our own food and preserving, cooking. So Hook and Garden came from this hope to document a lifestyle that is specific to me, which is sea and garden to table, mixed in with a little bit of wellness and a whole lot of fun.
Excellent, excellent. That's really great. And really do enjoy your Instagram page. You share so many really great reels and all these really fun tips and everything. And you can really tell that you have a lot of fun when you're growing in the garden as well, too.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to and you're growing in your garden this year?
So to know me is to know that I love tomatoes. Tomatoes and peppers are probably some of my most favorite items to grow. Um, just because there are so many incredible varieties, and each year I try to add something new to the mix. I love to, like I mentioned before, I love to can and jar. So all of those incredible tomatoes, making confit and sauces. It's something that I love to have throughout the winter. So tomatoes, one. Two, I would say are peppers because I enjoy making hot sauces as well. So lots of fun varieties of different peppers that I'm going to be growing this year. And then something that's new that I'm growing that I'm a little bit excited about are fava beans. So that's something that I will be growing this season that I've not grown in my garden before. So adding something new to the mix and hoping for the best.
Awesome. Do you have any favorite varieties of tomatoes that you like
Mm.
and peppers?
Yeah. So for peppers, my favorite variety of a spicy pepper is a Scotch bonnet. I just love the fruity flavor that they have, and they pair well with inside of a hot sauce. They've got a good amount of kick to them, but they have also flavor, which for me
Yeah.
is the best of all worlds. I traveled to Barbados, and their signature hot sauce, which you will find at every restaurant, that the Scotch bonnet is the base of all of their hot sauces, and I fell in love with it. So I started growing it, and now it's the base of all my hot sauces as well. As far as tomatoes are concerned, there is a small truss cherry tomato that I grew last year that I trellised, and it was an incredibly fruitful variety of tomato. Another one that I am excited to grow is called. I'm going to try to do some container tomatoes this year. So it's called the Mexican midget, I believe it is. So
Okay.
that's another one. And then there's also one that's a yellow oxheart, which is a big variety. It's a yellow beefsteak style tomato. So that's another one. There I could literally go on. I've planted over 30 varieties of tomatoes just yesterday.
Just all right, excellent. So you already got a really good start on your tomato growing season this year. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm going to be getting mine started here in a couple of weeks. I'm already starting to plan out all of my peppers. One of
Hmm.
my favorite peppers when it comes to that level is Sugar Rush Peach.
Yes.
Now
Good
that's
one.
one that has some really good flavor to it as well. I
Hmm.
really like that. And again, too, I love growing tomatoes as much as any other gardener does. We
Right.
grow probably about a dozen different varieties
Wow.
each year here in our alleyway gardens that we have. And this year, as I mentioned last week too, we're really kind of focusing on heat tolerant tomatoes
Hmm.
because we are getting incredible amounts of heat here on the West Coast, and
Oh,
especially in
wow.
our Southern Oregon Valley. And last season, I wasn't getting very much production off of my tomato plants because of the extreme heat. So
Mm.
I did have a couple of varieties. I think I mentioned last week, Big Red Chief is one of the ones that just did extremely well for containers and for the heat.
Hmm.
And we're going to be looking at some other varieties as well too coming up here. Now, when it comes to gardening, do you find, or can you tell us about any of the sort of challenges you have in the garden, or any sort of plants or varieties that kind of give you a little trouble?
Definitely. I think that there's always challenges within the garden, right? Because you are dealing with something that's living. So there's only
Yeah.
so many controls that you can control. So there's always going to be elements that are out of your hands that you have no control over. So in that there's always a bit of mystery to the garden, right? Because when we look at what affects the garden, it's you know the temperature, like you were just mentioning. It's the weather that we end up getting. Is it a warmer summer? Is it a cooler summer? Um, is there a lot of rain? So there's only so many things that you can control within the garden. So I always find that it's really dependent upon how the season kind of pans out for a lot of different vegetables. So you're always in some state of gray zone with the garden, that you have to be a little bit flexible and agile as far as your expectations are concerned. So there's that. There's always pest pressure, right? I'm an organic gardener,
Yep.
and there's always pest pressure. So just working with the pests, because they do actually belong there,
Yep.
and creating a garden in a sense of companion planting, and making sure that I'm setting myself up for success in that regard. And yeah, I think it's something that you're, as long as you've been doing it, and I've been gardening for probably my entire life. There's always something that you're going to learn, right? It's never something that you know everything. And if you're just open to learning, and you're open to maybe something not going the way that you expected it to, then it's fun.
Yes, excellent. And I totally just along right along with most every other gardener out there feel you when it comes to pest pressure. It is
Mhm.
definitely the biggest challenge in almost any garden, but you're totally correct about the ideas that, most pests, are a part of the garden ecosystem. And if you're doing and working things just right, you can find a
Mm.
balance between what's happening and all of that. And one of my other
Mhm.
big advices too is just grow more of what you're trying to grow. That way, if something does kind of get taken, you'll always have plenty left over as well too. Um,
100%.
yeah. And how about some future projects for your Instagram or things that you're looking to accomplish?
So I am, for my Instagram. For me, this is a platform that I'm passionate about to share this knowledge in a consumable format, right? I think when people look at gardening, it can sometimes be a little overwhelming, but my hope is that I can share tidbits of information with people that help them to learn a little bit more about gardening so that they'll try it, right? Because growing your own food, there's nothing quite like it. And teaching your children where your food comes from, I think it's a really important thing that we've not completely lost, but I think we're a little bit detached from as a
Yeah.
society. So my mission is to educate and to continue to grow this platform in a way that I can reach more people to help them to garden or try it. And that's kind of my hopes for this platform.
Excellent. That's a really good mission when it comes down
Mhm.
to it. Absolutely. And it also looks like we have a question or so from you from our audience right now. So
Great.
let's see. We've got Michelle asks, does Jen use fish as fertilizer?
I do. So, being that I'm in coastal New York, like I had mentioned before, I do use a lot of fish fertilizer. I have a local company actually that creates their own fish fertilizer here on Long Island. And I also use different types of kelp to mulch my beds in the wintertime. So it's kind of a fun way to protect your soil through the elements of winter. And it also nourishes and feeds and breaks down within that soil so that it acts as almost like a natural compost. So yes.
Awesome. And we also have Jay Dixon says, I noticed that your YouTube channel focuses on shorts. Any particular reason for that choice?
So I just started to post content to my YouTube channel. So nothing particularly specific about choosing shorts. It was just the easiest thing I could start with. But my plan is, as now the garden season is ramping up, to post a lot more longer length videos, educational content over on YouTube. So my goal is to really boost up the other side of that, which is those longer, more full length content videos. Shorts are just easy because I can take what I'm producing on the other platforms. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on YouTube, and I can kind of mirror that across the board. So it makes it a little easier for me to just get content out there.
Excellent. Yep. And all right. Well, that is awesome, and it's excellent to hear from you here this week. And I really had a pleasure talking with you. And thanks for sharing with us your different ventures on Instagram and all of that. And look forward to seeing all the different content that you put out there. Again, thank you so much for joining with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I just am so excited for the upcoming season. So happy gardening.
Yes, excellent. Thank you.